Hey YouTube, this is Denisio Matrenga as Pravase Rogan Prevent Front Flow. And today what I wish to go into is essentially a trinity of sorts that you see from the mind and the body and how you can simply prove that the soul exists. Okay, so simply going into, when you look at the body, all it is a series of potentials embodying cycles. What I mean by that is, at the core level, atoms are simply light. Every part of it is simply light. And when you are actually able to perceive it, it is light. So, when you think of it, the different numbers of neutrons, protons, and electrons give rise to essentially not only what the structure can be because of the amount of potential put into it, but the efficiency because of the stability. So when you see that, you see that it goes to another level, that you can compare that simply an atom of one structure of one compound is simply the same as another. You can see that a structural context and the way they bond and other things may differentiate, but that is a matter of an expansion of perspectives from those potentials. And so when you see that technology and the way that it's moving, that it's going towards more the atomic level, correct? And then you see that how analogous that is to the systems in our body that we already hold, that you find that our body is already technology. And that when you see that, you see that the relations in which they have with each other, you can see that they have a number of potentials. That when you take one function, that it has a number of potentials that surround what it is and what it can be. But when you take another thing in relation to that and you make a conjunct relationship to one another, that it will disappear those potentials. But because of the relationship in the bond, it will create more. And so in that, you see that all these systems in our body do that. And that in that process, essentially, when anything evolves, it evolves in the whole process, but it's in potentials that are conjunct with the whole. And so when you see that, then you see that it is a matter of cyclical structure. It's all a matter of cycles. Every single thing has a cycle in it, but they all come from a potential basis. So it is a matter of cycles that are in a concordance of a pattern that is considered a structure. And so when you look at the mind and the way that the mind works and the mind develops and all these fascinating things, that you can see that is a matter of simply potentials that embody a more, I would say, fluid state that is still held as a structure, that it is a potential structure, where this body is more of a cyclical structure. It is more of a potential structure that as you are developing, you add a number of layers and layers and layers to your context of information, and that how you also add that is from a bird's eye view. You see all the different potentials of things that exist within that realm space that affect one another, and how they affect one another is how they build. So it is completely analogous when you are building that information. And so in that sense, that if you are to take that potentiality as being what would be considered as spirit, and the cyclicalness as being the body, right? Then the soul is the thing that is the bond between that is able to interact with those two. And that is why an expression of us, if we are to have a soul, that it is the relationship connection, and also how it already is fractals from the mind to the body. You can see that in the process of going from the body to the mind in just a physical standpoint, that you see this body in which we have all the concordance of patterns go to the mind, but the mind is really just dealing with the outside world, even, or the brain is just dealing with the outside world in concordance with all these. But um, the pineal gland works with the the mind or the brain in concordance with the outside world and in concordance with the inner body. And so, in that case, it is no wonder that the ancient Egyptians called the pineal the seat of the soul. And so, when you see that it is already a fractal to get to that point, and that the soul is essentially the bond, the glue itself, that, sorry, I know, right? That essentially, when you see that you can also see that there is a fractal that comes from the potential, because as a thing expands, the pieces of it tend to hold similar properties of which the whole may contain, which is microcosm and macrocosm. And so you see that the soul itself fractalizes into three pieces. It is the expression of what you can see expressed from that, or the body, the spirit, and then the part that makes it pure, right? If it is a drop, if it is this child of light, then you can go into the Nag Hammadi scriptures and you can make a concordance to that being a offspring of God. So I'm not saying it is God. I'm just saying that we already know we are an offspring of God, that extent makes it more wholesome, and that the soul itself, that if it is aligned with that offspring, that when this body, this expression, which is just a technological machine in which you operate, if you really think of it, every single energy, you are in the core energy, and it's a matter of notifications. You're like the network of the software of whatever device you're using, and every action, every step that is made makes a notification to you. And it's not a matter of accepting or blocking, because that is interacting. So if it is an energy in which you wish to go beyond, just a matter of clicking X or going right through it, you're not interacting with it. And so you are already beyond that. And so it's a matter of embodying that and accepting whatever it is that you need to accept to go beyond the self in which you currently embody, to embody a higher self. And so I wish this was very helpful, and I hope it is, and that you can take this somewhere and learn something from that. And I just appreciate your guys' views and your comments, everything that I can use to better improve myself and better improve the knowledge that I may portray to you. And so I just want to thank all of you. I want to say like, comment, subscribe, and share. And have a great rest of your day.